Good day, I'm Wei Ming, BCU ID 24127802. The module is Innovative Thinking for Organization Development, and the topic chosen was Improve Organization Response to Climate Change/Environmental Issues. The scope is as shown. We'll start off with the introduction, followed by the design thinking process, which comprises of stage, and lastly, we'll conclude with the conclusion. To start off, do you know that climate change such as global warming, rising temperature, and sea level are affecting our Mother Earth? The increase of carbon dioxide emission is not allowing the atmosphere to heal itself. Within Singapore, record hot temperatures, unusual monsoon surge is being recorded in 2023 climate report. In that year, this warning trend is consistent with the global pattern. And the future climate projection is that there will be an increase of 1.4 to 4.6 degrees Celsius within this century, with more warm days, recording 326 out of 365 days. And the sea level is expected to increase as well. All this affect not just biodiversity, but also the public health. Hence, the United Nations has set a 1.5 degree threshold to restrict severe climate change impacts such as more frequent and severe droughts, heat waves, and rainfall. And they want to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Hence, the greenhouse gas emission must peak before 2025 at the latest, which is this year, and decrease by 43% by 2030. Singapore government is fighting against climate change, being a signatory to the Paris Agreement, which has 17 sustainable development goals to achieve by 2030. One of it is to reduce the carbon emission to net zero. While the government is doing its part, we also need to play a part in fighting against climate change. Looking at the recycling bin, you can see that there's a lot of trash overfilled the recycling bin. I believe inside there's also recyclable that can be recycled. And the CNA report has been stating that there's increasing trend of general waste generated. However, the recyclable are reducing. That's why I've utilized the 6 steps of design thinking process to derive a solution, and will be the guiding principle throughout. And it can be jumped from any stage within the design thinking process, and then you'll go back the flow and then back to the last stage of implement. Firstly is to understand, which is comprises of empathize as well as define. Empathize, which is to understand, hence I did a site survey and I saw that recyclables as well as the trash bin are filled with both. This is not acceptable and I'm a cause of it as well. Subsequently, I did survey and interviews whereby 80% of respondents find environmental sustainability important. However, 67% of them did not use the recycling bin correctly. The comments that they have stated is that it's inconvenient and they are unsure of how to use the recycling bin, which 93% of them find that lack of education as a primary barrier to sustainable practice. However, 92% of the respondents are willing to participate in organization environment efforts. Moving to the define stage, this is where I classify the problem and challenges into 2 broad categories of infrastructures as well as the education/policy. Some articles that are intriguing is that sorting at source requires for up to 41 hours a year. This is a lot of hours if you compare it within a whole year, and it might be inconvenient to people to recycle. However, recycle to conserve natural reserve rank top. This means that people still want to recycle to conserve natural reserve for ourselves as well as the future generation, with economic incentive being widely accepted for people to recycle. Next, I use the scope map to scope the issues and then further iteration throughout the process, design thinking process, to continue to refine and enhance the scope map to meet my solutions. And I also utilize the 5 whys to understand the root cause, which brings me to be able to define the problem statement, which is the lack of environmental education and integrated infrastructure solution is hindering organizations' ability to effectively combat climate change. While economic incentives are attractive, the monetary incentive will put on toll on the system. Hence, education will result in a long-term goal, and riding on the digitalization, AI can be used to automate the system to facilitate the convenience of the user for the recycling. Moving to the next stage, which is going to be explore, which is ideate and prototype. Being alone, I'm unable to generate a lot of ideas. Hence, I brainstorm as a team, where the ideas are being maximized. Using the idea board to generate the ideas, subsequently, I continue as an individual to research and group the ideas into three broad categories of education, technology, and policy. Utilizing the Moscow prioritization, this is where I'm able to eliminate and also combine certain useful ideas into an integrated solution, which is a mobile app with automated sorting recycling bin. It comprises of tutorial, notice, incentive, convenience, and trackable. Moving to the next stage, which is prototype, wireframe is utilized, whereby I used to draw a sketch and understand, and a flowchart is embedded into the mobile app wireframe to understand how the app will be navigated through the menu section. And for the physical recycling bin is how it's going to be operating through the automated of the AI. Next on the design thinking process will be the materialization, which is comprises of testing as well as the implementation. The testing consists of the prototype, your test, and a feedback loop, which focus on the feedback to see what can be improved. Such as the one that I created, this is where I consist of audience from user operators, design team, as well as third party to gather valuable feedbacks. This is where the onboarding occurs, as well as the recycling bin being implemented through the integrated solution, and then subsequently gathering the feedback from all the users. Subsequently, going back to the loop to constantly improve and enhance the user experience and interface for a better functional solution. This brings me to a final prototype after numerous improvements and testing and the feedback. This is where I have came up with the solution of the retread bin. Retread bin stands for recyclable through tracking as well as a automated recycling bin. The retread bin is an integrated system comprising of a mobile app with an automated recycling bin. As you can see, those boxes in red, those are the minor subtle reiteration after further testing, and then it comes with the final UI interface, whereby the user have to go through the onboard. Subsequently, they go to the menu page or the home page comprises of the menu section as well as their employee pass. Subsequently, they can navigate through the different sections such as the tracker, tutorial, notice, reminders, whereby the settings can give them a better usage of the reminder as well as the notice. And lastly, the last thing that I've added in is the incentive, whereby users can redeem certain supermarket vouchers to use it. Coupled with the automated recycling bin, which will be shown on the next page, this will ease their workload, and employees need to ensure that the recyclables has no contamination to throw in to the retread bin, and this is going to be part and start of their recycling journey. The final prototype of the retread bin itself is as shown. Firstly, the user have to scan the QR code. Then subsequently, the onboarding has already been done. The recycling bin will then open the opening. Subsequently, the user have to track the how filled are the recyclables. Is going to be filled, then this is where they can move on to the next recycling bin, or they can wait for the cleaner to come, which is set as 95%. Subsequently, they just have to throw their recyclables inside or their general trash and let the technology sort out the recyclables or the general waste. It's that simple. The automation or the movements of the recycling bin for the interior is as shown as well. For the implementation, The costing is that the mobile app will cost approximately 34,000 spanning over 3 years per year, and the retrap bin itself will cost approximately $10,000. So combining each year, it will be approximately $45,000 for the whole cost for the retrap bin. However, utilizing the 3R funds by the National Environment Agency, it can potentially cover all the costing for the retrap bin. For the timeline itself, this is where the mobile app will take about 1.5 to 2 months, and the retrap bin is 3 to 4 months. However, once the mobile app is fully developed, the onboarding will just take a day, whereby the test load can be done as well. And lastly, the fully operationalization of the retrap bin will take approximately 5 to 6 months. The value proposition is that the challenges that faced was low participation in recycling due to inconvenience, lack of education, no incentives, as well as the limited awareness. The solution that I come up with is an integrated mobile app with automated sorting recycling bin. This is inclusive of the knowledge, reminder, notice, and incentive, potentially, to constantly engage the user. And the benefit that it can bring to is that improve recycling efforts. Whether within the organization or home, with the education being taught, it can be recycled through everywhere. The potential challenge that retrap bin face is that the funding. If the 3R funds by the National Environment Agency is not accepted, this is where the agency of the management team have to decide whether to continue with the funding. Alternative, we can find low cost digital or implementation to continue with the project. Interest-wise, we have gathered good feedbacks from the testing day, but then this continue with the efforts of continue to gather interest to hopefully enable people with the retrap bin recycling journey. Next up will be the senior employees acceptance. The app has to be taught to them on how to use it. However, once the onboarding as well as the education part is completed, I'm thinking that the retrap bin process is easy for them to implement. Lastly, it's going to be the partnership with these supermarkets. Rewards is good. However, if the supermarket does not accept it, management have to think whether they want to fork out the company money to continue with the incentive. But I do know that the implementation of the education is the key, so that people is able to continue with it with the trackables app to constantly remind them to do their part for recycling. The potential challenge comes with scalability, which is the opportunity. If the implementation of retrap bin is successful within the organization, this is where we can continue to implement to other organizations or even communities within this Singapore. To conclude, addressing the climate change starts with the individual, hence we have to play a part for the environment, whereby every little thing counts. Retrap bin is an integrated solution with a mobile app to track users' recyclable journey and their efforts, and it comes with a potential reward system to reward them of the monetary incentive. With the automated recycling bin, this allows users to just throw in their trash, and then subsequently the trash will be sorted by itself by the recycling bin. That's why the integrated solution of the retrap bin play a part for the environment, whereby every little thing counts. Thank you.